Hello everyone and welcome back to more Fantasy Life. I am so unbelievably excited to be making this video, and that's because the 1.4.0 release is right here. I had absolutely no idea we had a new update coming, and it is not just a simple one that has some like bug fixes and some minor changes. This is actually a big time update. So as of July 2nd, every single system, every console, every platform that Fantasy Life was on immediately has access to this update, which is just great. So let's get right into it. There is actually one thing that is only for the Switch 2, and that is some more graphical improvements. So they adjusted the rendering to address blurriness that could occur when displaying the game on large TV screens due to graphic adjustments made in previous updates. So you can see right here the Nintendo Switch 2 before, which was, as you can see, like kind of blurred out, and right now it should be just smooth, very nice to look at. So hey, that's pretty nice. They added an option to purchase the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition upgrade pack directly from the title screen, so that's pretty nice. You don't actually have to go into the eShop if you want to buy it. You can also just boot up the game right now, and you should have an option that takes you to the eShop from the like the in-game title screen to buy the upgrade pack if you didn't have it yet. And then they adjusted the vibration intensity for the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller, so pretty nice. But let's get to the biggest thing from the update straight away, and that is these new added area challenges. These are so unbelievably huge because before there were 10 exclusive Treasure Grove bosses that you couldn't find anywhere else, and right over here you can see the Heart of Darkness was one of those, the Great Dragon Tree was one of those, the Godfish was one of those, and over there to the right you can also see the Poseidon Swordfish, which was also an exclusive Treasure Grove boss. So that's already 4 bosses that are no longer exclusive. Also, you should normally, after clearing the Heart of Darkness, encounter the, I'm actually blanking on the name right now because I haven't seen the guy myself yet, but I think it's like the Lord of the Cursed. That Treasure Grove exclusive boss should also spawn after you clear out the Heart of Darkness, bringing the total to Treasure Grove exclusive bosses now to only 5. And I believe they might be even lower because someone in the Fantasy Life Discord told me that something spawned after you complete the Dragon Dare area challenge over here for the Great Dragon Tree, and I actually managed to spawn this challenge in my game. So we're gonna take a look at that in just a second, but there's one more area challenge that they added, and that is the Beware the Glittering Silk. This is pretty much just a way to get a new material added into the game, the Glittering Thread, because they added the Glittering Silk recipe, which will need to make some new armor and objects. I believe they added into the game as well. This update is like, it's pretty great. There's just like a lot of new little things that they added, and it's especially great for these area challenges, of course, which we're gonna take a look at right now. So over here in the Scorch Rock Mountain, you need at least an area rank of 5 to spawn all of these new challenges. They also say that on the page itself. So over here in Scorch Rock Mountain, you get access to the Dragon Dare challenge once you hit an area rank of 5. Over here in the Multana Waste, you get access to the Evil Prime Vault challenge for the Heart of Darkness and the Lord of the Cursed, I believe, or maybe it's like Lord of the Dead. It's one of those two guys. Anyways, you get access to that area challenge. It should be right over here somewhere. It's gonna be a like a mining challenge, I believe. And then finally, for the Godfish and Poseidon Swordfish, we need to head over to the Thankshore Isles. You need an area rank of 5 in order for that to spawn. By the way, it also spawns at an area rank of 6 and 7, of course, but you need at least a rank of 5 for them to spawn. Now, you might be really happy about this new update, but do keep in mind it is actually really difficult to get these things to spawn. I think I've been re-rolling and changing the area ranks for about half an hour before even coming across one of these 3 challenges, the Dragon Dare one over here. So it actually does take like a really long time and some really good luck to spawn these challenges, but it is very nice that we can finally get these exclusive bosses in Gynomosia right now. So without any further ado, let's go over here. It is so insanely crazy to see the Great Dragon Tree over here, like not in a treasure grove. So let's go ahead and attempt this tree. It's not going to be easy. We're only at a rank of 5, but you can see it is a level 90 dragon tree, so this is going to be pretty difficult. I actually came pretty close to not even being able to take out this tree. Let's try getting an excellent on this if I can. Of course my teammates mess it up for me, but I mean I guess that's fine. Hopefully we'll get all of the drops. I do have the max. Yeah, we do get all of the drops. Okay, we get 1 dragon wing and we get 1 horn, so pretty nice. It's still gonna be like pretty difficult actually grinding out all of the materials for the dragon tree, but you are of course able to get it now, so that is really great. Actually needed my teammates over here to clear the boss for me, and right over there's gonna be a Napdragon that spawns. Oh no way. And are you kidding me? Okay, a Napdragon and a Prairie Dragon spawn at the same time after you clear this little challenge. I'm gonna actually go ahead and switch my teammates here if I can. All right, let's take out these two bosses and see if that actually makes us complete the Dragon Dare challenge. This is this is a pretty difficult one, dude. All right, so I beat the Napdragon, and it does look like he actually drops the Napdragon scale and the Napdragon teardrop. So that is pretty nice. This is a really good challenge actually. And I'd have to assume that clearing out the Prairie Dragon gives us the teardrop and the that's actually the only thing he drops. He only drops the teardrop. But yeah, the Prairie Dragon and Napdragon all drop. Well, all of their drops, but you of course just really want this challenge for the Great Dragon Tree. So yeah, pretty cool. Again, if you want the Great Dragon Tree, that's gonna be over here with an area rank of 5 in the Scorchrock Mountain. If you want the Heart of Darkness and the Lord of the Cursed, or like Lord of the Dead, I don't quite know which one it actually is, but that one spawns over here in the Multana Waste with an area rank of 5, and then the Poseidon Swordfish and the Godfish will spawn over here with an area rank of 5 in the Fangshore Isles. If you want the new Glittering Thread item for the Glittering Silk material, you can get the quest, I believe, everywhere on the map at any area rank, so you can even get it at an area rank of 1, I think. It's gonna be a monster quest over here, Beware the Glittering Silk. I got it in Crickneck Canyon, but you should be able to get it pretty much, I think, anywhere on the map. Just keep checking these monster area rank quests for Beware the Glittering Silk. You are only gonna get one of the glittering threads whenever you take out the actual boss. I guess I'll go do that real quick. So first up, you always have to take care of some of these Cave Star enemies, which is actually quite nice because they can sometimes drop their Marine Thread, which is a pretty rare material as well. And after clearing out this first wave, this new enemy, I believe the Goliath Hill Spider, is gonna spawn, and he is the dude that actually drops the Glittering Thread normally. Yeah, over there, as you can see, Glittering Silk Thread. So he's only gonna drop one, so you'll probably have to take down quite a few of these guys if you want to have enough of the Glittering Silk to make all of the new recipes with. But that was pretty much it for the area rank challenges. Definitely the most exciting thing in this update, in my opinion. So let's go on to some other stuff. Over here, they added new materials, armor, and objects. So the new material that they added is what I just talked about, the Glittering Silk Thread used to make the Glittering Silk. If you want the Glittering Silk recipe, you need to go over here to Marco and go to his normal shop, so the one that you can just buy with Dosh. I don't think you need a certain level of Marco's shop to actually be able to buy this, but if you do, you can check out my video where I explain how to get rank 5 in Marco's shop. But yeah, this is where you'll be able to buy the Glittering Silk recipe. So let's actually check out what you need for this. Like, do you only need one of the glittering threads? Do you need multiple? Oh wow, you actually need 2 of the Glittering Silk threads to make 1 Glittering Silk. Probably best to make these in like batches of only 1, so you can get the most out of your silk threads. And then they added new armor pieces over here, the Modern Girl's hat, Modern Girl's boots, Modern Girl's clothes, then the Retro Boy's hat, Retro Boy's clothes, Retro Boy's sandals, the Sweet Hairband, Sweet Ribbon Dress, and the Sweet shoes. So you can kind of see the whole outfits up here at the top. This is going to be the Modern Girl, I believe. This is going to be the Retro Boy. Kind of looks like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to me, or kind of Jotaro, you know. And this is going to be a maid outfit, the like the sweet outfit, I guess. So pretty nice. I guess we can make Ram and Ram now. And then over here for the objects, they added the Spirit Clock, the Red Leaf Lantern, Yellow Leaf Lantern, and Blue Leaf Lantern. They added the Honeywort Chair, the Ginkgo Chair, and the Deco Chair. And then over here, the Chili Table, then the Ginkgo Topiary Flower Pot, and the Deco Topiary Flower Pot. And finally, they added a Plushling Lounge Chair. This is probably the coolest furniture piece. If you want to get these new recipes, they have been added to the base camp shop, so that's over at Marco's, and to the Gynormosia merchants, I believe. So over here, let's go over to our wonderful boy Marco, and all of the new recipes are actually going to be found over here in the fruit exchange. You get these goddess fruits by clearing the treasure groves, by the way. So these recipes are not going to be all that easy to buy. And then over here, you should find most of them. So all of the Modern Girls things, the Retro Boy things, the Plushling Lounge Chair apparently, and it seems like that's all that you're gonna find over here in Marco's shop. So I believe all of the other clothes and objects are probably gonna be inside of the Don's merchant stock, which normally would be horrible, because if you know Don the merchant, he will try to sell you stuff that you've already bought, basically just making his rotating stock useless, because there's a very high chance that he will only show you items you have already purchased, so you can't really buy again. But that should now be fixed, because already purchased recipes will no longer appear in the merchant's randomized inventory. So that's great. Getting the merchant exclusive recipes should be a lot easier right now. They also adjusted the equipment menu, so they added a feature to change the equipment of all the buddies from the equipment menu. Let's take a look at that as well. It's going to be pretty simple. Just right over here, whether you have your 4 buddies or 3 buddies and you, there's right now going to be a 5th option for you to access every single buddy you have. This is pretty helpful if one of your buddies, for example, had something equipped that you want to sell. You can just go over to that specific buddy, unequip them with those items, or if you just want to equip them with some new axes or weapons, or I don't know what you made, you don't have to take them into your team anymore. You can just go over to this menu, click on Taruha, for example, and equip her with a better rod. Definitely a pretty nice feature. I still feel like there should be an option to share the clothing at least between the same lives. So for example, the paladins over here, I feel like you should be able to equip every single paladin in the game with the same outfit, which is right now not possible. This leather cap, for example, I need a different leather cap for Laura, Jake, and Olivia, even though they are all paladins. I mean, I guess it makes sense. You can't just equip the same cap like in real life. That wouldn't make sense, but this is not real life. This is a game, you know, and just from like some game perspective or something, it's not really fun making 50 different outfits for every single buddy in the game. So I wish they would kind of change that, but at least being able to change the equipment right over here without having to actually take the buddy in your team is pretty nice. And then another really amazing change that they did is adjusting the crafting of the base camp. So buildings can now be relocated even if the new location overlaps with the previous placement. Kind of show you what they mean by that. Let's go over to the Islander's house, for example, and let's relocate. If you want to relocate something, you have to go over here, press a certain house, and they will give you a relocate kit. After that, you'll have to go over here, and I am pretty sure you need to go into the Hagra mode. And then over here by facilities, you can see the house that I want to relocate. Normally, you wouldn't be able to like overlap with the house you're trying to relocate. You wouldn't be able to do that. But right now, if I, for example, wanted to place this house a little bit more into like the actual corner over here, I would be able to do so. So that is very nice, because it was so tedious having to like move this house to a whole different location over here, then waiting for the remodeling or like relocating to finish. Then you'd have to go over to cook once again to ask for another relocation kit, and then you'd have to place it like right over here. So right now you don't have to do that anymore. You can just place over the actual like building that you're trying to relocate, and it should work just fine. It's going to be the exact same case for the bridges and stairs as well as the farms, I believe. Let's actually test that out with the farm, because I'm not really sure if that actually does work. So over here I have the shadow carrot farm that I want to replace, and it does look like it's going to work. So over here you can see it's overlapping with the previous structure, but I can place it over here, so that is fixed. That is very nice. But the best change about farming is that we can now more easily change the actual crop that we want to place. So right here, going over to farm and then change farm type is going to allow you to change the actual crop that you want to plant. So you have to select the actual farm plot that you want to change. So let's say I want to change this carrot farm. I can choose whatever I want to change it to. So over here with exterior, I get the option to choose between these 7 different crops. So the carrot, radish, pumpkin, cabbage, onion, potato, and the shadow carrots, of course. But after that, as you can see right over here, I can now place radishes instead of carrots. So still not what I would like the farming to be optimally. I would just like it to be like going over here, selecting the seed type that you want. I don't know why there is like a farm plot limited to a crop type. Why is that a thing? No idea, but at least we are able to change it more easily now, so pretty nice. And then over here they adjusted the UI of the recipe selection menu during crafting to clearly reflect changes in crafting ability when switching buddies. I've tried this out for myself and I don't immediately actually see a change. They also over here say this adjustment affects the UI only and does not impact actual crafting ability. So it's not like any bug was present when you were like changing buddies that you were not getting the actual power you should be getting. That should have been working fine from the start, but I think right now it's just a little bit easier to see how much more power you are getting when you're switching buddies. So hey, a pretty good change, I guess. And then they adjusted the life menu, so they added a display to show the levels of each life in a single view, and they also added an indicator to show whether a life can be ranked up. So over here when you go to the life tab, you're gonna see right now that all of the lives have their levels in like the bottom left. So that is pretty nice to see. You don't actually have to go over to the specific life to then see, oh, I'm like a level 72 farmer. You can just see all of your levels for every single life at once. So pretty cool change. And then I believe if you have any of your lives ready to be ranked up, you'll probably be notified of that as well right over here in this menu. And then then they adjusted the text for the restore a total of strangelings to their original forms guild quest to increase islanders by a total of what certain number. So they just changed the text for this specific guild quest. I don't really know why. I think it was pretty clear what you had to do, but if this helps people out, I guess I'm all for it. Then pretty much the same as you could do with the Nintendo Switch upgrade pack. Right now they added a feature to purchase the digital deluxe edition from the title screen, and a logo will also be displayed on the title screen if the digital deluxe edition has already been purchased. So that's pretty nice. You'll never forget what actual version you have of the game. They also adjusted some equipment models. So they adjusted the designs of the following equipment models: the Carpenter's top, Sawyer's outfit, Hunter's vest, and Marksman vest. I don't really know what the previous models looked like, so I can't really compare the two, but I guess these 4 outfits will just look a little better. This was also something that you might have seen if you've already opened up the game before watching the video. There should be a notification that pops up on the title screen displaying part of the update information, so that's pretty cool. Actually letting the people know when they launch the game that there's like new stuff inside of it. That's something only for Steam. There's now a feature to open the keyboard and mouse control list by pressing the F10 key, so that's great. I don't know who actually plays with keyboard and mouse. I'm only using controller even when playing on Steam. That's just definitely the way to go in my opinion, but hey, this is something you can do. The keyboard actions for crafting terrain and excavating terrain can also be reassigned, I believe only on Steam, so that's nice. And then there's just one balance adjustment over here, and that is the adjusted item drops for the Napdragon that appears northwest of the capital of Mysteria. This is actually something I talked about in my video yesterday, and that is that this Napdragon over here in the capital of Mysteria, which only spawns at day at this exact location, this Napdragon didn't actually drop what he was supposed to drop. More specifically, he didn't drop his Napdragon's teardrop and his Napdragon's scale, pretty much the items you want to kill the Napdragon for. I've already tested this out myself, and he does drop those items right now, so this Napdragon is definitely your go-to if you don't have the West Great Gut Plains at an area rank of 6 yet. So that's pretty cool. It was always kind of strange why the Napdragon just didn't drop his material, so that was apparently a bug. So lastly, let's go over to the actual bug fixes. They fixed an issue where the displayed crafting ability in the recipe selection menu during item crafting did not match the actual value. So you might have noticed this as well, but right now if you go and craft, your crafting power might be a lot more than you are used to. That's because they just didn't really display it correctly, but it was always calculated correctly, so it just only fixes the UI, it fixes what you see, but this bug did not actually affect the crafting ability. They fixed an issue where defeating enemies in the Moltana Wastes would not correctly add area points for that region. This was actually something I had happen to me as well, or like I have experienced, and I believe if you killed like some enemies over here to the sides of the Moltana Wastes, you would not actually get points for those. So that should be fixed right now, which is pretty nice. They fixed an issue where the animation for acquiring a strangeling would sometimes not play correctly after clearing all quests in a settlement on Gynomosia. I had this happen with me as well, more specifically with Ahab. I think in the Tortoise Town settlement, I did all of the quests, no animation played, but I did get the strangeling added to my inventory. But right now that should not happen anymore, and the animation should always be playing. They fixed an issue in multiplayer where crafted objects placed on furniture were not visible to other players. They fixed an issue in multiplayer where boss veggies in farms could sometimes appear duplicated. And then actually a really big bug fix. They fixed an issue in multiplayer where defeated enemies or gathered items were not registered in the encyclopedia. So we thought this was like an intended feature, but this apparently was a bug. So if you went inside of the treasure groves, for example, and you cleared out the dragon tree wing or any of the like exclusive bosses that are pretty difficult to get, they would not actually be added to your encyclopedia. Right now that should be fixed. They also fixed an issue in the base camp guild quests where the count for improv crafting was based on the number of items crafted rather than the number of times crafting was performed. So this I believe is going to make it actually a little bit more difficult to complete the improv crafting camp guild quest. They fixed an issue where buddies at the base camp did not avoid fence objects as intended. Fixed an issue where buddies at the base camp were unable to cross bridges or stairs, and they fixed an issue where the infrastructure limit did not update to 20 as intended. I've had a couple of people in my comments actually mention this to me before, so I thought it was kind of strange. I thought it was like kind of their fault they didn't update their game correctly, but I guess some people just really didn't have that limit work for them and they were still stuck with the like 8 bridges and inclines. So right now hopefully everyone can place 20 of those. They fixed an issue where daily rewards on the activities menu could be received twice under certain conditions. Don't think I've actually had that happen to me before, but I also just don't really check the rewards for the activities menu. I really wish we would actually get some more stuff other than the Celestia's gifts from that, because I really don't feel motivated activated to check the activities tab. Fixed an issue where for certain skills unlocked via the skill board, the displayed values in the skill list did not match the actual unlocked values. So I guess they're probably talking about this thing over here. For example, it says plus 10 defense. This could, for example, have actually only given you 5 defense or 20 defense. So these numbers were probably just displayed incorrectly for some of the actual live panels. So that should be fixed now as well. They fixed an issue where item quantities were not displayed correctly when holding more than 256 of a particular item. That's like an odd number. That's kind of a weird bug. So glad they fixed that. That's kind of a weird one. This one I've definitely had happen to me before. Fixed an issue in the Renoa's Treasure personal request where the quest could sometimes be accepted again after completion. I think a lot of people have actually had this happen to them. So that's going to be this quest over here. When you talk to Renoa, he has this certain quest where you have to go to, I believe, this area at night and you have to kill some like spookies. After that, you complete the quest, but I found that you could just keep recompleting it or like keep taking it on. So yeah, that was definitely a bug that is now fixed. They fixed an issue where status effects could not be applied correctly when both the hunter's switch effect and an equipment skill effect triggered at the same time. So I guess if you have like paralyze on your bow or like as your effect as the hunter, but you have a different status effect actually put on your bow, they were not being like applied correctly. I don't know, this is kind of a confusing one, but seems like these things should be working correctly if you are playing as a hunter. And then finally, they fixed an issue in co-op play with Trip, so the 2-player family play, where healing would fail if the avatar was on a mount. I don't know who figured this out that has been playing the co-op play. I haven't done that a single time, but great to know that this has been fixed now. That's actually a final thing only for Steam. They fixed an issue where pre-order bonuses could not be received in certain user environments, so really glad that has been fixed, because if you did not get your pre-order bonuses up until now, that is like a pretty big deal actually. So with that, that's going to be it for the update. Definitely the biggest things that we got were the area challenges over here, as well as the like the new recipes and materials over here. Pretty cool. And then some very nice quality of life things, such as being able to change all of your buddy's equipment from the equipment menu, being able to like overlay the like the relocation of buildings right now, and especially being able to change your farm type more easily. That is a very nice change, and just a bunch of other small stuff that they added in this 1.4.0 update. So hey, a really exciting one. Definitely suggest booting up the game, if only to try out these 3 different area rank quests. They are really difficult to spawn though. You'll probably be trying to spawn like any one of these 3 for, I don't know, maybe even half an hour if RNG is not on your side. But it is really cool that we are now able to get these quests in Genermosia. So with that, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more stuff just like this, definitely don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Not even 5% of the people watching my videos are actually subscribed, so I would appreciate it a lot if you would do so. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, later. Bye.